Parents handed my $75,000 college fund from Grandpa to my golden child sister for her business. I stood up to them and got kicked out, but now the truth's out and karma hit them hard. The golden child's downfall and my uprising. Can you imagine having your future stolen from you by the very people who were supposed to protect it? Because that's exactly what my parents did. They robbed me of my inheritance, the one chance I had to finally escape their toxic world. I mean, what the hell happened next? My life? Oh, it was never easy. Not before, not during, and certainly not when this all blew up. Thanks, Mom and Dad and their precious golden child, my older sister Mandy. Seriously, from my earliest memories it was like I was just furniture. A spare part. Mandy got everything. I got her hand-me-downs because, why buy new when Mandy's are still good? Even my toys were hers. Christmas was the one time I got something new, a single outfit, just so they didn't look bad to Grandpa and the relatives. Can you believe it? If I ever complained, Mom would just say, "Don't be impatient, your sister's stuff is coming to you next year." Yeah, secondhand. As a kid, I bought their twisted logic. But as I grew up and started understanding just how messed up that was, I'd make a fuss. Then it was either, "We're too poor, honey," or I'd be grounded. It was never about what I wanted. Dinner? Always Mandy's favorite. Holidays? Mandy's taste. One time I actually rebelled, refused to eat, stormed off. Grounded. Starved. Had to apologize and do all the dishes for a week. It's exhausting just talking about it. And you want to know why? My mom, bless her heart, suffered from narcissistic parents too. But instead of breaking the cycle, she decided to become one. She was the older sibling, always felt unloved, so she made damn sure Mandy felt loved, at my expense. I think she saw herself in Mandy, treating her the way she always wished she'd been treated. The irony, right? By the time I finished elementary school, I was so utterly resentful of them, I started spending my summers with my grandpa. He was my sanity. The only person who truly saw me, who loved me. He wasn't exactly a fan of my mom either. I think he saw right through her. That's why he always rooted for me. He invited me to stay with him at his farm, and honestly, I'd never felt so free. So happy. And I'm guilty to say, I fully exploited his love. He bought me everything I'd ever craved. New dresses, Barbies, dollhouses, video games. Everything my parents denied me. Life on the farm with his poultry and horses was incredible. I never wanted to go back. So, when it was time for high school, I insisted on going to a school near Grandpa so I could stay with him. My parents? They were more than happy to get rid of me. It was a win-win, really. He was getting old and needed help, and I needed an escape from my toxic family. I was in my junior year when Grandpa got sick. I think he knew his time was near because he called everyone and read his will. He left the farm and stable to my uncles. He gave my dad $150,000 cash, but, and this was huge, $75,000 of it was specifically for me for my college. He made me promise to finish my education. Mom grumbled because Dad only got cash, others got property. But Grandpa reminded them that Dad had already blown his share of property years ago, selling it to pay off debts and start a business that went nowhere. Then he was gone. Just as I started my senior year, Grandpa passed away. It was the saddest day of my life. My support system gone. And I had to move back with my parents. It was awful. I hated it, and honestly I think they hated having me back too. My graduation day was getting closer and I needed to fill out college applications. So I asked my parents about my $75,000, Grandpa's money. That's when the problem started. Every time I mentioned college or the money, they'd make these weird faces and change the subject. I lost my patience. I put my foot down. What's going on? Where's my money? That's when she said it. They'd given that money to Mandy. For her business. What the hell? That money was supposed to be for my college. They tried to brush it off saying, "It's no big deal. You're still too young for college. You can wait a year." Too young? My classmates my age were getting into colleges right then. When they couldn't reason with me, they started pleading, begging for a year. I shot back, "Why can't the golden child wait a year to start her business? I can't waste a year." A lot happened in the next few months. They kept asking me to wait. I refused, pestered them constantly. They called me mean, selfish. Gaslighting me, basically. Not just them, my sister Mandy started her own campaign, telling everyone I was jealous of her business, trying to take money from her. I lost it when my cousin told me that. I marched up to Mom and said, "If you don't give me my money, I'm going to tell everyone you went against Grandpa's will and gave my college fund to your useless daughter." Mom exploded. "Do you want to go that level? Fine. You better pay us rent. Start paying for your own food. Calculate what we've spent on you for 18 years, Then we'll be even. I stared at her. 18 years. They were still feeding Mandy, 24, divorced with a child, and they wanted me to pay for 18 years of living? I always got good grades, but they were never proud. Meanwhile, their golden child brought shame to them, yet they had her back. Oh, you don't know about Mandy. While I was living with Grandpa, she got knocked up by her boyfriend. By the time they found out, it was too late. Mom, being a conservative Christian, forced them to get married. They didn't want to, but Mandy had no choice. Her boyfriend was a bum, didn't want the kid, and eventually he abandoned Mandy and the baby. My parents tried to track him down, but he had proof Mandy was emotionally abusing him. He got a divorce. My parents had to bring her back home. After Grandpa died, when I came back, I found Mom was basically raising Mandy's kid. Mandy was never around, always busy. Dad would get furious, asking why Mandy left Mom to do everything, but Mom would jump to her rescue. She's looking for a job. That wasn't true. I saw her countless times just lurking in cafes, parks with different guys. She's a high school dropout, so a decent job wasn't happening. When that didn't work, she insisted Mom give her money for a business. And my parents, without even asking me, just handed over my money to her. Until I posted online, I had no idea what to do. So, the next time they pushed back, I simply said, "I'm suing you for violating Grandpa's will." Their faces? They turned pale. They finally understood. I wasn't the gullible little girl they could exploit anymore. Not after living with Grandpa. I'd started putting my foot down, and this was it. Mom, in her fury, pulled out a notepad and literally started scribbling down every monthly expense they'd ever supposedly spent on me. She even listed a quarter of the mortgage. School fees, Christmas dresses. I was in awe as she doodled away, and at the end she looked up, serious. "Forget about the $75K. You owe us $200,000. Pay us before asking for your damn $75K. I got into a screaming match with her, then stormed out. After an hour of just walking, seething, I got on a bus to Grandpa's old farm, where my uncle was living now. I asked for Grandpa's diary, found his lawyer's number, and called him. I explained everything. He assured me the $75,000 was legally mine, and that it was his responsibility to ensure the will was followed. He said he'd send an official notice to my parents, and if they didn't comply, I could sue them. Relief. Pure, unadulterated relief. The notice was going out that week. I was happy, but also terrified of my parents' reaction. You guys were so right. They kicked my ass. I was mentally prepared though. I'd already spoken to a friend about sharing her condo, and I'd taken a part-time job at a cafe. The pay was tiny, but hey, free leftover food. I'd even packed my belongings the day before the notice arrived. As expected, Mom went ballistic. She screamed at me, threw my stuff out into the yard. Called me a snake, said they'd fed me all these years and I was biting the hand that fed me. I yelled back, "You left me no other option. I'm not jeopardizing my future because of your narcissism." The lawyer had given them a month to respond. That timeline was about to breach. Mandy called, screaming at me again, saying I was giving the family a hard time, that our parents wouldn't give me a penny, and I couldn't do anything because I had no money to sue them. I just listened, silently. And when I couldn't take it anymore, I hung up. I told my lawyer. He just said, "We can definitely sue them next week." I really didn't want to drag them to court, but they just wouldn't respond to the lawyer's demand. I even went home one last time to try and talk sense into them, to tell them they had to comply or I'd go legal. They ganged up on me. Hurled abuses. Mom actually threw things at me. I had left some non-essentials there, thinking I'd pick them up later. She pulled them out of my closet and tore them to shreds right in front of me just to hurt me. They wanted a fight? Fine. I went back and told my lawyer to press the charges. He happily did it. When they got the court order, they finally panicked. Dad called me, trying to smooth things over. "We can sort out family matters within the family, there's no need for a legal battle." Really? Now he wanted to sort things out? After they turned hostile, threw me out, and left me with no choice? The ship had sailed. No compromise. During the court hearings, Dad was ordered to pay the $75,000. But he showed his bank statements. He didn't have it all at once. He offered $10,000 a month, but my lawyer argued that I needed that money for college now. The attorney ordered that Dad would have to pay my tuition and other needs, accommodation, food, up to the $75,000 total. If my expenses went over, I was on my own. If they were less, he'd pay me the balance. I didn't love the idea of still being dependent on him, but he pleaded with teary eyes, promised he wouldn't default. I agreed but warned him, any more drama and I'd sue them. Again, this time for mental torture. He agreed. Meanwhile, Mom and Mandy? They were still out there bad-mouthing me. Mandy telling everyone I'd given our parents hypertension and brought shame to the house by dragging them to court. The irony. Mandy getting pregnant out of wedlock, marrying a bum, living off them? No shame there. Me fighting for what was legally mine. That's shameful. You know what? I don't give a damn anymore. They labeled me a black sheep. I guess I'm happy being one. Hey peeps. I know it's been a long time, but I've been busy settling into my new life in college. I graduated high school with top grades. I even sent convocation invites to my parents, knowing they probably wouldn't show up. Surprisingly, Dad did. He seemed happy, and for the first time he said he was proud of me. It took him 18 years and a court case to realize I was his daughter too, that I needed love and care. Doesn't matter now. I've moved past it. I quit my cafe job, moved into the dorms. The money Dad sends covers tuition, fees, accommodation, food. Anything beyond that, I'm on my own. I picked up a part-time job near campus, and I'm even tutoring my classmates in math for extra cash. I'm good at math, a bit of a flex, right? Dad's been sending the money diligently, just as the court ordered. Some of you asked about Dad and where he was all those years Mom was mean to me. Honestly, he was non-existent. He saw everything happening, but he chose to look the other way. He ignored my problems, never questioned Mom. He just obliged. He actually thought Mom was smart for making me wear Mandy's clothes, because it saved him money. Throughout my childhood, he struggled financially, so any chance to save a penny he was in. So, yeah, he always supported Mom in that twisted way. I'm not even sure how he reacted to Mandy's unexpected pregnancy. I only heard bits and pieces from cousins. Mandy's wedding was done so hush-hush, nobody knew, not even me. Like I said, I was living with Grandpa then, and honestly, I couldn't care less what was happening at home. If I have to update about my current situation, I couldn't be happier. I'm living my dream life, attending college, getting good grades. My relationship with Dad has gotten better, surprisingly, after the court ordeal. Mom and Mandy? They did their usual thing, bitching about me, bad-mouthing me, portraying me as the bad guy. But sooner or later they got their own to handle. Mandy got into trouble with the cops. Remember that business my parents gave my grandpa's money for? Yeah, well, it got swept away. Mandy had opened a secret gambling business, disguised as a gaming zone. My parents had no idea. Cops raided it, seized everything. All the machines, equipment. Whatever little money she had in her bank account. My parents used it to bail her out. So in the end she's left with nothing. This is what she did with Grandpa's hard-earned money. And honestly, I couldn't feel more satisfied. Deep down, I'd felt a little guilty pushing Dad to the corner for my money. But now, I'm so glad I fought back. Because Mandy didn't use that money for good reason. She opened a home-wrecking gambling business. After that encounter with the cops, after her time in prison, Dad finally threw her out of the house. Mom tried to advocate for her, of course, but Dad laid down the law. It's either Mandy or him. Mom doesn't work, so guess who she chose? She told Mandy to get a job and move out. Mandy's been using her kid to emotionally manipulate Dad for years to let her stay, and it always worked. Until the gambling thing came out. But now, I hear Dad's not buying her BS anymore. She's living with a friend, but God knows how long that will last. She hasn't contacted me for help. How could she, after all the torture she and Mom put me through? She better stay away from me. I wouldn't shy away from humiliating her further. Today, before writing this, I was reading my initial post. It made me tear up. I was in such a bad situation back then. I just lost my support system, my grandpa. My parents ripped me off my inheritance. I was trapped in my own house, denied a college education. There was so much uncertainty, all I could see was darkness and helplessness. But a huge thanks to this community for all the support. I still miss my grandpa. It's because of him that I'm in college today. He's my guardian angel. I know he's blessing me from wherever he is now. This journey, it's been a lot. What would you have done if your own family tried to steal your future? Have you ever had to fight for what was rightfully yours, against your own blood? Let me know in the comments below. The cheating ex-wife's audacious request: can you believe someone could cheat on you, leave you for another man, blow all their money on a dream wedding they never got with you, and then have the audacity to ask you for money? Because that's my ex-wife in a nutshell. What kind of person even does that? I met my ex-wife when we were in our mid-20s. We were friends for a while, then decided to date. After about a year, which felt like forever back then, she started hinting at marriage. I wanted to wait a bit longer, but within a few months I was ready. I proposed and she accepted. That's when I saw the first red flag, though I was too in love to recognize it. She wanted this huge, lavish wedding. I understood it was a special day, but spending a fortune on what was essentially one big party? Didn't make sense to me. I managed to convince her to have a small, intimate ceremony. She seemed okay with it at the time, but looking back, I think that resentment just simmered beneath the surface for years. I told her we could have her dream wedding someday if we renewed our vows when we could actually afford it. That seemed to appease her, but that feeling of inadequacy on my part always lingered. Look, I'm not Mr. Romantic. Never was. But I tried. I did little things for her over the years to keep the spark alive. And it's not like she didn't know this about me when we got married. We also never had kids, so that pressure wasn't there. Years passed. By the time we were in our 40s, we'd been married for almost 2 decades. Things had gotten stale. For about a year. So I planned a romantic night out. I even asked my sister for help because, again, Mr. Romantic isn't my forte. But it never went anywhere. My wife never came home that night. She eventually said she'd stayed at a friend's house because they'd been drinking and it was safer. I believed her. What else was I going to do? The next night I tried again. We had a pleasant dinner, but when I tried to initiate intimacy, she brushed me off. Too tired. Again, I didn't think much of it. We both worked a lot. That's why we could afford the life we had. But this trend continued. And it got to the point where I had to ask myself, am I really going to keep believing these stupid lies? Because they were lies. I tried calling her friends hoping she was there, but they covered for her. Shouldn't have been surprised. The only thing left was to confront her directly. Ask her if she was cheating. To my shock, she admitted everything. Right there that night. I was stunned. Just stunned. I don't know what I expected. Maybe denial, a fight, tears? But no. She just straight up told me. So I asked who it was and how long. He was a family member of one of her friends. She'd met him one day and there was instant attraction. And he was so romantic. There it was. The one thing I could never quite manage, the one thing she seemed to resent me for all those years. This guy was everything I wasn't. And she claimed our marriage effectively ended that night. What followed was the divorce process. Surprisingly, it wasn't bitter. We agreed to split everything down the middle. We'd sell the house and each take half. Seemed like the cleanest way to get away from each other. Once everything was final, I took my half, bought a modest condo, and saved the rest for a nest egg. Smart, right? My ex. She did the exact opposite. She took her money and bought an even bigger house than the one we lived in. And then I heard she was planning a wedding. A very, very huge wedding. The dream wedding. The one she never got with me. I had flashbacks to our quiet ceremony all those years ago. All that resentment right there. As embarrassing as it is to admit, I did look at the pictures on Facebook afterwards. And my God, it was a huge affair. Everything looked so expensive. I could just imagine how much money she'd blown on the whole thing, the dress alone. At that point, I knew I had to take a step back, stop obsessing over this woman who was now my ex. I focused on spending time with my friends and family, which really helped. I assumed my ex was off living happily ever after with her new Mr. Romantic. Turns out, though, not everything was great. About a year after they got married, I heard they were drowning in debt. My ex had blown her entire divorce settlement on that expensive house and that expensive wedding. She had nothing left. Her job brought in a decent income, but she was the only one making good money in that household because her new husband? A total bum. And then, the phone call. She actually dared to reach out to me. To see if I could lend her some money. She played on our past relationship, the memories we made over 2 decades. I wasn't buying it. Not for a second. I told her, straight up, it wasn't my problem that she spent all her divorce money on pointless crap. And I hung up on her. I proceeded to receive at least 3 more calls that night, along with 3 very nasty voicemails. After I listened to them, I just laughed. I played them for my friends to show them how far she had fallen. They all found them as funny as I did. My ex truly had no shame or was just that desperate. I don't know if she ever truly believed I would give her the money. Even if she'd asked me months earlier, I still wouldn't have given it to her. At no point was I ever that desperate. I blocked her number that night. I didn't want to hear another word from her. We were done. She cheated. She wanted to go be with her Mr. Romantic, the new love of her life. If she'd planned better, she'd have money just like I still did. Most of my family and friends were happy to see her go. I sometimes wonder if they ever liked her, or just tried to get along for my sake. It didn't matter anymore though. My ex was a part of my past. And that was where she was staying. It's wild, isn't it? Have you ever had someone from your past come crawling back, asking for help after they completely screwed you over? How did you handle it? Let me know your stories down in the comments.